Mount Washington in New Hampshire is known for extreme weather. In fact, it is the home of the world's worst weather. The highest wind gust ever observed by man on planet Earth happened here in 1934, 231 miles an hour. I call this place instant wilderness. In the summertime, you can leave your house in Boston and drive to the summit in a few hours. Many people have died on the mountain over the years because they underestimate just how insane this place can be. I was hired to capture the extreme wind, cold, and icing that occurs on the summit of Mount Washington. I've made custom heated time-lapse camera cases and will be using trusted gear from companies like Sony, Canon, Kessler, Vinton, and Xylite. I will also be living and working with the people who study the extreme weather on the summit. I started my adventure with a pickup truck loaded with television production gear. The tires are wrapped in chains, and a Park Service ranger provides an escort up the 7.8-mile mountain road. Winter is not blasted New Hampshire yet, and the Mount Washington Auto Road is covered with only a few inches of snow and ice. I was hoping for a snowcat ride, plowing through snowdrifts taller than me, but Mother Nature did not cooperate for my cameras. Normally behind the wheel of a snow tractor this time of year, Slim the driver has made this trip many times and has seen this road in all different types of conditions.
If this freezes, it'll stay. It gives us a good basis to drive the cats. The cats have such sharp ice cogs on it that we try to be good and not penetrate the ice and snow into the pavement.
A few miles later in the Alpine zone, Slim wouldn't mind having spikes that penetrated pavement. A sheet of glaze ice, unlike anything Slim had ever experienced on the auto road before, made for white-knuckle driving.
You must be really concentrating because this is the longest you've ever been quiet. Right?
Yeah. Well, this certainly gives you a little exposure to strange weather up here. And so we talked about how mild and unwintery like it is, but this is certainly turning into a very tense trip right now. We are on home stretch. Happy to meet you at the gate. Bring the wagon.
Okay, we'll be right there.
With the threat of sliding off the road into a ditch behind us, we approach the summit buildings. You can barely make them out. The summit of Mount Washington is in the fog most days of the year. Once inside, the friendly summit crew helped me unload all the Pelican cases that were full of TV equipment.
Apparently they didn't mention at the base to you about the 3-bag limit.
Alright, I made it. The summit of Mount Washington, 6,288 feet above sea level. I'm in the main summit building. This is the rotunda. This is where people hang out in the summertime. It's open to hikers. It's a state park. Looking out the windows, not much really going on. It's all gray, except for 40-mile-an-hour winds outside, heavy fog, freezing rain. This is a Xylite f8 Fresnel lens, compact. There's only a couple of these on the planet. This is a prototype, totally watertight. I'm going to use it outside up here. And this is a Kessler Cine slider on 2 carbon fiber sticks. This is a Pelican 1300 series case. I cut a hole in the front, put a piece of glass, and I wrap this heat pipe coil around. And as long as it drops below freezing, it activates the coil, fires up, puts out heat, keeps any sort of condensation from forming on the lens itself, and also keeps ice from forming. Kessler quick release plates on the bottom, which really makes a difference, and this all is totally weather tight. And it just goes down to a standard Edison plug. Powers the whole box with a 5D Mark II inside. I have more water pipe heater, runs all the way along the side on both sides, so it should stop any icing from occurring. And then down here, I wrap the wire around the motor, and I put this Ziploc bag over the entire motor assembly so that it shouldn't ice up. That's the same thing going on over here. Kessler K-Pod with a Hercules head, one of the most sturdy tripods I own. Gonna get totally encased in ice. And the first night on Mount Washington brought blowing rain with a forecast that had temperatures below freezing and heavy fog. The perfect recipe for rime ice. The enclosure was in heavy winds, and thanks to the Kessler K-Pod, it was rock solid. The entire system was being powered by a watertight party cooler with a deep cycle marine battery and an inverter. The Xylite F8 was already performing well in the driving rain. Small puddles of water were forming on the Fresnel lens. I have the LED dimmed to 20% to save battery. Rime ice forms into the wind, so I'm hoping it grows off of the railing towards the camera lens. The next morning, everything was covered in ice. The Pelican 1300 case protected the 5D Mark II inside, and the shutter was still clicking. The water pipe heat wire kept the front element perfectly clear. The F8 LED was still working, even though it looked like something that an artist would sculpt for display. I can't show you the time lapses, but I can say that it worked very, very well. The other part of my job up here is to work with and shoot the hardy few who brave the elements to keep this weather station operational.
So it's just gonna fall in here.
I'm using GoPro cameras all over the place and using the Wi-Fi remote to control them all.
Should be good?
You're going.
All right, I'm gonna...
Good spot for now?
Yeah, just watch right above you. There's some ice. But I'll start here and work my way that way. And hopefully it'll work.
It's just me up here, so I am the cameraman and the field producer firing off questions to help drive the story.
How often do you have to do this?
This doesn't happen too often. It was just the big pieces like this. We didn't want it falling down on us.
Okay, we are rolling.
All right.
Just nice and slow. So what's up?
All right, so this is the 6-hourly observation. It's called a synoptic. And during a synoptic, we have to go outside and change the precipitation can. So we're actually going to go into the precipitation can now so we can change it out.
What would you say these winds are?
They're probably gusting up towards Hurricane 4. They're probably right around 70 miles an hour.
In 70-mile-an-hour wind with freezing rain, even the best rain jacket for a Sony f800 is not enough. But my biggest problem is keeping lenses clear of water, ice, and condensation. Because the summit buildings are comfortably warm, I have to leave certain lenses in cold rooms to keep them at icy temperatures so that they don't fog up when used outside. Working in these extreme conditions is a challenge, and I love it. Just knowing that a warm cup of tea is just a minute away within the safety of the observatory is definitely a huge plus. Keep an eye on my blog. I will try to post more behind-the-scenes videos as I live and work on the summit of Mount Washington.